How's everybody today? I think one of the biggest challenges we all face is the challenge to create the right habits and what we do day in and day out, to do the little things right, have fun doing it, have the right energy and enthusiasm, sort of approach things with, a disciplined mindset to create those habits. So you're going to have confidence in the fundamental execution. You got to invest in that in practice, and it takes good energy and enthusiasm and focus every day to be able to do that. I was, pretty pleased with the way, the players did that today. So, hopefully we can build on that, and it's going to help our execution come game day. We have a lot of respect for Ole Miss. We understand the challenge that we have. This Saturday in Oxford, they got a lot of good players. They're well coached. It's challenging schemes on both sides of the ball. So we're doing the best we can to get our players ready and confident to be able to play with confidence when the game comes. One thing I'd like to mention, Veterans Day coming up, this week. Just like to take this opportunity to thank, all the veterans who served their country, to make the sacrifices they made for the quality of life that maybe so many of us take for granted, that we certainly shouldn't. It's hard to feel bad if you have gratitude for what we have, and we have, one of the greatest countries in the world, and all these servicemen have made sacrifices so that we can maintain that, and we appreciate what they do more than you know.
Yeah, you said that they look good today in practice. What have you seen from that energy and attention this week in practice? And can you tell by Wednesday what a team is going to play like on Saturday based on?
No, I can't tell. You hope that when guys practice well, and I believe in this, that they will play better in the game. But there's so many things that happen in the game, all right, that you have to be able to maintain your individual momentum, all right, to be able to play the next play and execute when, your best is needed. I mean, when an old shit moment comes up in the game, you got to be able to play the next play. Just like you got to do the same thing in life. We all have issues and things that happen in our life. Some we create, some we don't create. We still have to deal with. But you got to have the right mindset to be able to sustain the right energy level and regain momentum when those things happen. And, that's one of the things that we need to get better at. We talk all the time about playing one play at a time for 60 minutes in a game, like it has a history and a life of its own. And no matter what happened on the last play, focus on the next play. Don't look at the scoreboard. Don't worry about the outcome. Just do the things you need to do to get the outcome that you want. And that's something that, we need to improve on. And it's something that's been harped on all year long. So even if you practice well, if you don't go in the game with the right psychological disposition to sustain momentum, and how you play in and play out, even when things go bad, even when you're playing on the road, it doesn't matter where you're playing, then you're not going to be able to maintain the kind of focus you need to be able to execute.
Lane Kiffin brought in, I think it was 16 players from the transfer portal for this team. Some obviously ended up with bigger roles than others, but how much impact would you say that the portal has had from this year's Ole Miss team to last year?
Well, I think, you could go through all the teams that we play, and they've have significant players that have come in from the transfer portal. And Ole Miss certainly has significant players. LSU had significant players last week that, made their team better. And, it's almost like, can you only build your team in the draft, or is there such a thing as free agency now in college football? And for years, NFL teams use both of those things to help build their team. And I think, some teams are doing that. Some teams probably need to do it a little more than others. And but I think it creates a lot of parity relative to how fast you can rebuild a team, how fast you can sort of get your team where you need to be very, very competitive. And, I think Ole Miss Lane's done a great job of that. And he's got a lot of significant players that, and you couple that with some good recruiting, and it helps your team be really good. And they got a really good team.
their quarterback's one of those transfers. Just what stands about him and his ability to pick up Lane's offense?
Well, it looks to me like he must be a really bright guy because he does a really good job of executing the offense. He can make plays with his feet. He's athletic. He's a big, strong guy. So he's, a good runner, different kind than what we played a week ago. He's a really good passer. And he does a good job of faking the ball, which is important in a lot of their shot plays in terms of things that they like to do because they run the ball so well. They've got really good play action passes. And, he's done, I think, a really, really good job for him all year long.
You talked about players have to prepare day in and day out to compete highly at this level, but for a coach that's well-traveled like Lane Kiffin, what goes into preparing day in and day out to coach at this high level?
Well, I think, you have to have a systematic approach. I can't speak for Lane, but, he was here and did a really good job when he was here, and he's obviously done a good job, every place he's been since he's been here. And, for me, I can speak to a systematic approach that in terms of trying to develop a culture in an organization that develops a standard and an expectation of what people need to do so that they create value for themselves and we can have success as an organization. They can have success individually. We can have success as a team and, have good people in your organization who are actually carrying out, the principles and values of the organization, the standard that you want to set in terms of the culture, whether it's discipline, work ethic, people being responsible and accountable to do their job, pay attention to detail, so all those things, sort of make a team what it is. Obviously, you got to get the right people. So you got to do a good job of recruiting in all parts of your organization, coaching staff, as well as the kind of players that you bring in. So I think all those things are critical. Having a good system, offensively, defensively, that players have a chance to be successful in. I think that's obvious too, as an important part of the overall, system and program.
We'll finish up here with Nick.
Will Reichard became the program's all-time points leader in this past game. How would you, obviously he's still playing, but how would you characterize the career he's had for you guys?
Oh, I think Will's been great. I mean, I've been coaching for a long time, and I know a couple seasons ago he was perfect for the whole year in terms of field goals and extra points, and every time he kicks. And he's done a really good job for us this year. And I know that he missed a couple, but they were long ones, they were tough ones, and but he's been very, very consistent. He's very consistent in practice. He's very consistent in his routine. He's got the right mindset to not get sort of rattled in situations. And he's very, very competitive. And, I absolutely just love the guy as a specialist. Sometimes, your specialists are a little different. He's just phenomenal.
All right, Coach, that's it.
All right. Thank you.